In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with y'all exactly how I turned $5,000 into $31,800 in just 4 days trading. I'm going to be sharing with y'all the entries of my trades, the exits, and most importantly, the reason why I took this trades to begin with. That way you guys get to understand the mindset that went behind it. So let's dive right into it. Right off the bat, we got AMD, which was the very first trade. I was looking at AMD over the weekend. First and foremost, on the daily chart, extremely overbought. That's the first thing I recognized. The next thing I recognized was on the 1 hour chart when you look over here. All right. In this segment right here, there is a bear flag on the chart. I saw that on Friday, the 29th of August to end the month. I saw the way it broke down right here below 163.75. And another thing that I really liked was the 5-minute chart on Friday. When you just look at that right there, there was a bearish pennant on the chart. I saw that and I decided to buy put options on here. Let's look at the Robinhood account. So this is the contracts, the details of the contracts that I bought on AMD. On Friday the 29th, in the last minute of trading hours, I bought 22 contracts of the $155 puts that expired on the 5th of September for a total of $2,000. And then on Tuesday, after the 3-day weekend, I started by selling half immediately out the gates because the first price target that I had was around 158, 157-ish. So I sold half for $262,642. And then I sold the other half literally 2 minutes later, right over here. All right, for a total price of 2,310. Now, if you go back to ThinkorSwim, the entry is right here after the breakdown in that candle right there, and then the exits was after the gap down, after this thing went in my favor. Let's go onto the 1 minute, that way we can see more candles. All right, so this is it right here. After the retest of 157, I sold half. And then once it started to make its turnaround and get back above 158, I got out of all of my puts. Okay, so that's the very first trade, turning 2,000s into 4,950-ish. All right, now the next trade was on Meta. And this one was kind of tricky. It was kind of tricky because I saw the setup happening on Tuesday, but it didn't give me what I wanted immediately. And this is what I mean. So we're going to zoom out and then we're going to look at it real quick. First and foremost, the daily chart. We have a massive sell-off from the top right here, 792, all the way down to the bottom of 731. And then another bottom on that Tuesday right here to 720. This level right here, that 725, corresponds with this previous level of support right there. All right, so that's the first thing that I noticed. The next thing that I noticed before even taking the trade on this one was the 5-minute chart. And on the 5-minute chart, there was an ascending triangle on here, right here, and right there. So this is the ascending triangle, very clean, exquisitely clean. So I saw it, I obviously waited for the breakout, and I started buying calls. Let's go to Meta. All right, so I started buying calls. This is the 2nd of September. About 20 calls of the $745 strike for the contracts that expired on Friday, this Friday. I bought them again in the last minute. Y'all know my style. For those of you who've been in the Discord, that's how I like to trade. The total cost was 7,922. With this one, I had to sell it the next day because Meta just wouldn't move. as you can see, I took a loss on there. Like I took a $600 loss on there because I hated the way it opened. So let's go back to here. So I got in this candle just to sell it after it failed to show me what I really wanted in that initial 5 minute. I hated how it spiked up to 740 and just didn't hold, so I immediately cut it loose. And ultimately I was kind of right. Like that, those contracts, I bought them for $7.95 each, and I sold them for I bought them for $395 each, and I sold them for $365 each in this candle right there. Ultimately, it ended up being the right move because the same contracts ended up being super cheap, a bit cheaper by the close, as the stock consolidated and did absolutely nothing. The price target that I had on Meta was 750, but because it didn't do it on here, I kept monitoring it. And the other thing that I really liked was how buyers kept holding the stock up, right? So we have buyers stepping in here at 734 and stepping in again right here at 734 and then stepping in again right here at 734. Right, so I saw that and I was like, you know what, let me try this thing again, because this structure is just too clean to just fail like that. And the fact that it's holding up well gives me conviction to go back in again, but this time with more contracts. So instead of buying 20 contracts like I did before, I bought 25 contracts for 7,875 3 minutes before the market closed yesterday, the 3rd. All right, same contracts again, $745 strike that expired on Friday. And then this morning, Meta finally gave me what I wanted to see. The stock spiked, and y'all know how I trade. When something spikes in our favor, the first thing we do is to sell half, all right, just to secure the win. So that's what I did. I sold 12 contracts in the first minute of market hours for $11,825, and then I ended up selling the remaining 13 contracts a minute later for a total of $20,020. Now let's go back to ThinkorSwim. So the re-entry, I would say, right here in this candle, right at 737. And then the exits, let's change this thing to the 1 minute. That way we can get more candles out of this. All right, so this is the 1 minute, and this is what happened in the morning. My price target, 750. Anything above that, to me, is just a bonus. All right, so I saw the first spike, the break above 752. I sold half right here. And then I waited for another minute, and this thing really went up and took out a previous level of resistance, which was at exactly 760, which is where I sold the remaining 13 contracts. And if you scale back to the 1 hour, this is what I mean by that. This is that previous level of resistance, which I figured it might hit. Maybe it might hit, maybe it might not hit, right? Today. That's why I said anything above 750 to me was a bonus. So that's why I was very quick to sell out the gates. And then again, as soon as we hit that line, I was out of there. And that pretty much made the total profit on this specific trade $24,000. Now, here's how everybody else did. Okay, so this is the wash. This is what happened in the morning. Gave the signal that I was out. And then if we go onto the buys and sells, so this is how everything started today. This person ended up making $1,900 on Meta calls. This other person ended up making $4,591 on Amazon calls. That was something else that I put in the watch list. Okay, but this was my P&L. If you scroll down some more, somebody else ended up making $845, along with like an additional 1,000 right here. All right, if we scroll down some more, this person, shout out to this person. They've been in the Discord for I would say for years. I would say for years, and it ended up making a total of 45,000 or 44,000. So 34 plus 10, yeah, $44,000 on Meta calls. Okay, so shout out to him and good job on that. Somebody else ended up making 4 times their money on Meta calls. Somebody else made $1,200 on Meta. Another person ended up making $1,000, and somebody else ended up making 500 plus another 500 plus another 500 plus another 100. So around $1,600 for this person. And yeah, that's pretty much how everybody else did on this trade. And that's, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of the video. Again, do not forget to annihilate the like button as always. I'm going to be releasing more and more videos. And remember, if I don't make videos on YouTube, just know that I'm putting videos on Instagram. So definitely check me out on there, all right? Like and subscribe here, and definitely check me out on at Paul and Guma and at Patternology Lab on Instagram and on X, all right? If you'd like to be part of a private Discord community where you can get all of this information in real time as I see them, along with the details of the contracts that I buy, and most importantly, the reason why I took the trades that I took to begin with. That way you get to learn along the way. You can find that as the first link in the description of the video below. Once again, this is Patternology Lab, where we trade patterns and patterns only. And I will see all of you in the next video.